Hi, Isabella.
Hi, Erin.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good.
Good. Well, this week I want to start working on some goals that we can work on for you and then figure out how we want to achieve those goals. Does that sound like a good plan for today?
Yeah, sounds good.
And then just as always, a reminder that everything here stays confidential between you and I unless you're going to hurt someone, someone's hurting you, or you're going to hurt yourself, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. So I want to try to create two different goals today with some objectives and interventions along the way, okay? So, what would be your first big major goal that you would like between these sessions?
Um, well, I've talked a lot about my work and reducing stress in that, but I also
Okay.
want to work on my relationship with both my kids and my ex-husband and making it better for them altogether.
Okay. So, would you rather work on your work first or your family first?
I'd I'd rather work on my family first because my
Okay.
job could always change, but families, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. So let's see the goal of just building a better relationship with your family,
Hmm.
which includes your son, your daughter, and then you want to include your ex-husband as well.
Um, I'm not looking to build a relationship with him, but I want it to be more amicable for
Okay.
my kids. So, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So building a better relationship with your family, your son and your daughter, and then with your ex-husband, you want a more amicable relationship. That's a hard word today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprised
Okay.
mine came out
So,
so good.
yeah. Um, so let's think of three objectives to show how that works, which we have three family members, your daughter, your son, and your ex-husband. So why don't we think of one objective for each person? So let's start. Who do you want to start with?
Um, my daughter.
Your daughter. Okay. Let's start with your daughter. What is your biggest objective with your daughter?
I don't really know what she likes anymore. I don't know who her friends are, what her hobbies are. So I feel like talking to her more would be nice without it becoming a confrontation
Okay.
or her feeling like I'm interviewing her. So, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So the objective is to learn more about your daughter without feeling like you're interviewing her.
Yeah.
So let's think of an intervention for that. So ways that we can do that. So, um, do you have any ideas of ways that you can do that, or would you like some help?
I have one idea.
Okay.
Um, at dinner, my family growing up, we used to talk and, ask about our days at dinner, but now my kids just play on their phones during dinner. And I feel like that's, a way that we can talk where it doesn't feel like I'm sitting her down, it's dinner time. So maybe I say no phones at the table because I have my phone, so it'd be fair because I wouldn't have mine either.
Okay. So talking at the dinner table, making a new rule of no phones at the table. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay. And then another intervention I was thinking of based on kind of what I know about you and how much of an organizer you are, maybe if you organize one day a month that you and your daughter go out, just you and her, and go do something fun. And then that way you two can get to know each other a little bit more. And it's not just you asking about her, but she gets to know more about you. So that could be something as simple as like, oh, we're going out for my favorite ice cream to my favorite ice cream shop, or one that I went to as a kid and something she's never been to before. So then she gets to learn, like, oh, this is where my mom grew up and this is where my mom did this, or, things like that.
Okay.
Does that sound kind of like a good idea? Or,
Yeah, I like that one.
and then I think that would be, I know we're gonna move on to the next one, which would be your son. Would that also be a good intervention for your son?
Yeah, I'm kind of facing the same thing where, he's also at that stage in life where he's questioning everything, and I do get frustrated with him when he questions me on basic things that he used to just do all by himself. And now I'm having to, argue every little thing.
Okay, so would the objective be to argue less with your son, or
How
what
do
would
I
be your
like
objective?
it would be more how do I communicate with him better about why I'm doing the things I'm doing?
So communicate efficiently with son.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we just talked about the intervention of doing something once a month with your son, with just your son. But what would be something else that you were thinking about besides the dinner thing? What would be something new that you think you could do with your son with communication?
Well, I used to watch that nanny show. I can't remember what it's called, but I know she was in like like she was English. You know what I'm talking about? She's kind of
Oh,
cool.
Super Nanny?
Yes, Super Nanny. I used to watch her, and she always had like those boards where people would like write things down and stuff. So maybe maybe I give him something like that for his door, and he can put small things on there that help me understand what kind of headspace he might be in, whether it be busy or just hanging out or feeling sad or whatever.
Okay. So I wrote here, give him a board for his door to help you understand where he is at mentally and physically. Does
Yeah,
that sound kind of good? Okay. Just want
yeah.
to make sure. Alrighty. And then lastly, we've been talking about your ex-husband. I know we talked last time about thought reframing and doing kind of some of that stuff. So let's see what we could kind of think about with your ex-husband. What would be your biggest objective with your ex-husband?
Just kind of, I don't even know. I don't even know how to make this more amicable. I have no idea.
Okay. It could be something as simple as, um, using or talking appropriately about him to like everyone, to your kids, to him, to others. I mean, obviously between you and I, we can talk about the hard stuff, but maybe just talking more positively about him can make a more positive view of him. Um, do we want to try that as an objective?
Well, I don't really want to think about him positively.
Okay.
The only good thing is that he'll birth my children, but that's it.
Okay. Um, we could also do something along the lines of, you know, um, setting boundaries that are
Okay.
appropriate.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. I like
Okay.
I like that more.
So that could be something along the lines for interventions. That could be something very simple as, stating, hey, every Thursday I'll send you our week's calendar and we're unavailable during the times that are in the calendar. So you could do something as simple as that for an intervention to set a boundary, or you could also do something like, I will not talk to you on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my busy work days. Things like that. What would you think for an intervention to help you set boundaries that are appropriate with your ex-husband?
Well, when he wants time with the kids, sometimes he'll text me the day before and I'm kind of left scrambling to, figure out what I'm going to do and everything like that. So maybe I tell him that if he wants the kids, he needs to let me know at least, 3 days in advance so that, they're ready and I'm ready, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Asking him to tell you 3 days in advance to help you see the kids. That's a perfect first boundary. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our second goal, which you talked about work. What do you want to do for work?
Um, I want to stop feeling guilty about, you know, um, giving away some of my work and making my coworkers work more.
Okay, so stop feeling guilty about giving away work duties.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be your objectives for that? You can think of all your objectives first, and then we can kind of do the interventions as we go.
Um, One objective is to start spreading out my work regularly so that it doesn't feel so, sudden when I do give people work.
Okay. And the intervention for that is basically the same thing as the objective. You want to start spreading out your work regularly, so let's spread out your work regularly. So the intervention for that is to spread work out, let's say at least one project a week. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
All right. And then what would be your next objective?
Um, some of my coworkers are pretty understanding about getting the work, but I think some of them have kind of grown used to me doing the work for them. So, um, one of my objectives I want to be is not dealing with those employees on my own, like not worrying about them because they're not mine to worry about in
Okay.
that way.
So not dealing with the employees that are troubling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm
So,
just supposed to be their supervisor in handing out the assignments. I'm not I'm not their boss in any way. Like the boss above me tells me what assignments and what things need to be done for each grouping. And then I am responsible for dishing it out however I, need to.
okay. Yeah, so the intervention for that will be maybe speaking to HR
Yeah. Whenever there's
weekly or whenever there's an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then for your last objective, I'd like to interject one of using some of that thought reframing like we did last week. Um, so your objective is to um, have appropriate thoughts about yourself and your workplace.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Place. I'm writing this down for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And then the intervention for that would be using thought reframing. Let's say at least once a week, because everything else is weekly on here for you for your work. So that's you can use it more often, but we'll at least start with weekly. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good.
All right, well, I think we have a good start with this. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna kind of type it out a little bit more, make it a little bit more formal for you, and so you can kind of read it a little bit better because right now it's just scattered notes. And then I'll send it to you for signature, and you and I can work on it together if we want to make any edits. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, yeah, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Well, I will see you next week, and we will talk a little bit more. Okay.
Okay,
Alrighty, good to see you, Isabel.
good to see you too. Bye, Erin.